I'm Harold. Welcome to the Amateur Redneck Workshop. Now, that's not that I'm an amateur redneck. I'm a professional redneck. It's the workshop part that's amateur. Uh, the whole basis of this channel is that when I do something new, I make a video and put it up here so you can see me uh, doing something I've never done before, which sometimes doesn't come out too good. Heck, I could cut off a finger or two or shoot out an eye. You never know. So there could be excitement here. So far, I haven't cut off anything or whatever, but there's always hope. um, today's project is a gravity casting mold, and what a gravity casting mold is, it's a metal mold made out of steel that I'm going to pour aluminum into. Now, in the video, I probably refer to things as die cast now and then, which is not right, because to be die cast, you got to put the aluminum in there under pressure. A big piston to squirt the liquid stuff in. I don't have that, of course. I've just got a hole in the top of the mold, and I'm going to pour the aluminum in it. But the mold's made out of steel and hopefully reusable, and hopefully it'll make something that turns out good every time. We'll see. Um, the idea behind this was I wanted some sort of a little framework that I could bolt pieces together and have a ready-made stand to hold a motor or to hold, uh, the bearings for an arbor, or just, whatever that I wanted. And it would be sort of a general purpose, halfway done framework that I can, just screw together, and go with it. And it may or may not work out, and the whole casting thing may or may not work out. I've been working on this for maybe 6 weeks or so. I started off cutting out the stuff with a 5/8 end mill, and I dulled out both the 5/8 end mills I had, and so then I had to order some more end mills, and ordered 3 of them, and that took over a week. And anyway, after I got pretty much into that, I realized what I should have ordered was a roughing end mill. So I ordered a 1/2 inch roughing end mill, and that delayed things, mostly more than a week. And I'm too cheap to have the fast delivery. Um, but anyway, I worked on it off and on, like I say, for about 6 weeks, and it doesn't take that long to do. It's just I'd go out there and work one day, and then I might skip 3 or 4 days, and I worked on 2 or 3 other projects while I was doing it. And it did get kind of inconvenient with the piece of metal, strapped down on top of the mill table, and I didn't want to move it, and lose all my setup. So that was inconvenient. But I finally I get through with it here now, and I'm not going to cast anything just right off. There's no casting in this video. It may be sometime way down into January before I cast anything, because I've got to get some wood, and I want to make patterns to make the same thing in sand, so I can cast it in sand at the same time, and sort of give myself an idea as to which I like to do best for the brackets, and then have some idea which comes out better. And I haven't gotten the wood yet. I keep procrastinating. In fact, I'm a master at procrastination, and I've been planning to go by and get the wood every day for 6 weeks, and I haven't done it. So that'll delay me a while. Herb Blair, my buddy up there in the north end of Texas, where it actually gets cold and snows, he told an Aggie joke. I think it was last week, pretty near there anyway. And he sort of hinted around it was going to be my turn to tell an Aggie joke next. So that's what we got today. Instead of a redneck joke, we got an Aggie joke. But Aggies are almost like rednecks, except with a better education, And so, what another little thing I wanted to mention to you is that if you're subscribed to the channel, right next to the little button that says subscribe, there's a little gear. And if you haven't already done it, go click on that little gear, and there's a box there you can check and get automatic notifications from YouTube whenever there's something new on the channel. Personally, I subscribe to 70 or so channels, and without that little feature, I would really be lost out here. I'll spend all day clicking on them to see if there's something new, you know. So it's a really grand little feature, and it comes in handy. So, you know, if you're not using that feature, give it a shot. Right now, we're going to move on now to the not the redneck joke. I almost messed up. We're going to move on to the Aggie joke, and here's one for you, Herb. When you tell a story, it's always good that you have everybody to understand who's who and why is why and that sort of thing. And so the two characters in our little story today are a guy that goes to Texas A&M, and they tend to be called Texas Aggies, and a guy that goes to University of Texas, and they tend to be called T-Sips. Now, the reason they're called T-Sips is the Aggies said that while they was off fighting the war, doing engineering work for the Army, and you know, building bridges and laying roads and building airstrips, the University of Texas folks was sipping tea back in Austin. So that's how they come to be called T-Sips, and there's quite a rivalry there. And I guess outside of Texas you might not know about it, but in here you do. Anyway, so our Aggie, our hero there, he graduates from A&M and gets a job in engineering, but on the side he's got this desire to farm, because let's face it, A&M is agricultural and mechanical, you know. And he decides to start an organic farm out there near College Station, and he gets him a couple of mules, and one of them, you know, has got a problem. You know, you go on an organic farm, you don't tractor and stuff, you want mules, you know. And so one of them's got a kind of a problem in it. He'll be out there plowing along, and his eyes cross, and he just stops. Well, this Aggie, being a smart guy, he figured out what to do about it. And you know, if you're queasy, you might want to skip this joke. But anyway, he figured out what to do about it. Is he's got this long plastic pipe, and he inserts it into the rear end of this mule and blows on it a few times, and the mule's eyes come straight, take off plowing again. Well, he got kind of tired of that, and he's got two mules, and he decided to put his mule up for sale. Well, along about that time, this T-Sip had decided he wanted to go into organic farming, and he bought the farm right across the fence from our Aggie buddy. And he figured, well, if he wants to go into organic farming, he needs a mule. And there's a mule for sale right across the fence. So he goes there and talks to Aggie about the mule, and the Aggie shows him how he plows and all, and he tells him about the problem with his eyes. Well, T-Sip, you know, he's going to give him a deal there. He's really good on the price, and because, you know, it's a defective mule kind of. And so he takes the mule back. He's plowing away, and over on the other farm, the Aggie's plowing away over there with his mule. Everything goes all right most of the morning, then that mule stops. T-Sip walks around in the front and looks at the mule, and sure enough, his eyes are crossed. Now he goes back on the harness there, pulls the pipe off, inserts the pipe, and he starts to blow on it. Goes around and looks for the mule, still crossed. And he's back there about 15 minutes, you know. He's blowing on that pipe, walking around the front, looking at the mule, and the eyes are still crossed. He decides that Aggie's cheated him. You know, he's getting pretty excited. He sees that Aggie over there plowing, and he yells, "Hey, you, Aggie, get over here!" You know. And that Aggie comes over there and says, "What's the matter, boy?" And T-Sip says, "Look here," he says, "you cheated me on this mule." He says, "I've been over here blowing on this pipe for 15 minutes. I'm so dizzy I can't hardly stand up." Aggie says, "Oh," he says, "dang, T-Sip, you don't know how to do nothing right." He says, "Get out of the way and I'll show you how to do it. Now get your mule started." Takes that pipe, pulls it out, turns it around, and stuffs it back in. And the T-Sip says, "Oh, whoa, 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 hold it, stop. What in the heck are you doing here?" Aggie says, "Well," he says, "you don't expect me to blow on the same end as the T-Sip, do you?" Well, there it was. There's my Aggie joke. In the beginning, there was this plant. And the plant, well, it might stink to high heaven, and then again, it might not. So we're going to clean clean off 2 pieces of this 1/2 by 6 inch steel, and we're going to find out how the plan looks. And the plan continues on from this angle. First recording from the Skyhook. Okay, so the plan's progressing along. I've got 2 pieces smoothed out. One's underneath this battery here, and I'll drill some locating holes in them and start to cut out the shape in here. So I'll have to get set up for doing that, of course. I've taken the drill out and all that sort of thing. I'll have to put things back together. And the plan is continuing on even more. Well, we're approaching 6 inches on a 10-inch cut. Lucky for me, I picked up this little guy here just recently. The 12-incher, so I'll measure it and have a couple inches spare. But the plan continues with that. So this little thing, which is actually probably a harebrained idea, but I'm trying to make a die to cast aluminum into to make brackets for, so that I can just make already ready-made brackets for various and sundry projects, and they'll all be very close to what they should be when they come out, if they come out. But I've gone around with a 1/2 inch roughing end mill and got all the stuff close to depth, and I've got it, you know, to length. Now I'm going to come back with a 5/8 end mill and make the actual finishing cuts there. Then I'll have to figure out how to set it up to cut across these corners. I imagine obviously I'll have to turn the metal kind of at an angle, and then I'll have to cut a piece across here and a piece across here, because those are going to be the steadying supports. This is going to be one bracket, and this is going to be one bracket. This way I can cast 2 brackets at one time, hopefully, if it works out. Chances are it won't, but what the hey, I never made a thing like that before, other than the little lead flywheel thing, but never anything serious like for casting aluminum. So we're going to find out how it comes out. Anyway, let's get busy and start machining these out to the right size. Alright, that no less swinging. It's Xanadu down in Australia there, Rob actually, he's primarily to blame for getting me started doing this stuff anyway, like this. He got me started thinking about it, and I watched him cast bar stock, and so then I cast a big old chunk of bar stock, and it worked out. And so now here we are. I'm going to try to cast some things that I don't have to build a pattern for, and my Skyhook's not screwed down tight. Alright, so anyway, maybe that'll rattle around and move, and maybe it won't. We'll find out. I've got to where I've parked this thing at 0, X0 and Y0, even though I leave the DRO turned on. But by parking it there, it's going to wind up, even if I lose power, it's going to wind up in the right spot, you know. So I haven't lost power, but we're gonna make it work out. We'll make sure I got it on the exact 0. Alright, that's 0. That's 0. Okay. Let's give her a little. This isn't really spraying any coolant, it's just air to blow the chips away. And It seems to help the cut. Alright, now it's time for just a little bit of cleanup, and then I'll cut out the middle piece to the right width, and we'll be ready to change the setup for doing the little. Now here's something I thought might be worthy of your inspection. I took the bag out because it was full of chips and diesel, and you can see how many chips are laying down in the bottom. There's quite a bit, and you can see how much diesel they're floating in. But I guess at least I got things lubricated good. I'm going to have to scrape all that out. I don't have a vacuum to vacuum out the vacuum. So a little cleanup, then more machine. Everything's cut to the right width and depth all the way around. These ends, of course, are 100 thousandths deeper than the middle and the sides. The ends are going to be the bottom of the bracket, so I thought they ought to be a little thicker. But now I've got to cut a gate right here, and I'll have to cut a corresponding gate on the other one. So now I clamped a straight edge on there and just ran that tool bit from one end to the other. And it looks like it touches, so all I got to do then is to find the very center there, and I'll be in business. I guess it's, you know, they may not be all that perfectly straight corner to corner, but it probably won't make, physically and functionally, it probably won't make that much difference, although I'd like it to look really nice. So let me continue with the setup. Okay, I've got it set for the first little notch. I think you can see the scratch there. That looks like it's pretty well on the corner, and it's that good on the other corner as well. So I'll get the 1/2 inch roughing end mill and set it in there, and we'll just cut a 1/2 of an X. But that's going to be tomorrow. I'm knocking off for the day. Well, when I knocked off for the day and said I'd be back tomorrow, I didn't. It's 2 days later. I spent yesterday goofing off and doing other things, and made a YouTube video yesterday, and watched 1 million YouTube videos. I think maybe I've got subscriptions to too many channels, because it takes me a while to watch everything, but then again, I like all of them. Alright, let's get this thing cut. Okay, so the plan now is to see if I need to back this up a little. Now that I've made this first rough cut, the plan is to come along here, cut it down to the same depth as this section right here, and then finish it off with a 5/8 end mill. Right now there's a 1/2 inch roughing end mill, and when I get that done, I change the setup and I cut across the other corner, and then I move down to the other end and do the same thing. And so it's going to be rinse and repeat a few more times on this piece, and then I move the other piece over here and do the same thing to it. So I should wind up with a nice X in there as a cross brace in the framework. This thing will be cut right here, you know, so I get 2 pieces out of it, and I'll have a nice X in the framework down here. And then we'll be about ready then to drill some holes for bolts to push the thing apart, because I'm afraid that, you know, once I fill it up with aluminum, it'll be stuck together forever if I don't have a way to make the sides come apart. I haven't got an angle on here, you know, and I'm not sure how to do that with a reasonable amount of work. You know, setting it to an angle with all the different things is probably a really big job. So Anyway, I won't let you be bored by watching me cut all these X's on here. You've seen what's up, and you see it makes it corner to corner pretty nice. And we'll be back when I'm ready for another step. Okay, this side's finished. It's not as complex as the other side's going to be. It's got locating pins on the end, a gate to pour the metal in, and the cross braces for the framework. It'll be I'm wondering when I get through if these pieces will match the pieces on the other side. You never can tell how well they're going to line up, because when you got rednecks doing it, you can make mistakes. Well, now it took a couple of days to do other things, and I've got just this little bit left. Drill and tap 6 holes so that I can have something to push the sides apart in the most likely event that they get stuck together there. You know, because I don't have any draft angle on this, and I don't know for sure if I'm going to actually get a draft angle on there that'll make things let go. So I got to mark it up here and get busy with, you know, drilling the holes. And it's been a couple of days since I was working on this. It took time to go places and do things, and took a little drive down to Surfside and back through Galveston and all, and it was a nice little trip. During that time, outside Screwball, Chucky, he had a little rant about his Dykem brush being all frazzed out, and his brush was all frazzed out. I mean, I got to admit, it really was. But maybe, I'm not sure why, because I mean, that's my brush, and that's Dykem Steel Blue layout fluid, and I don't have that problem. So I don't know. I hope this doesn't make him mad at me, because my brush isn't messed up. But anyway, I don't know. He's definitely unhappy with it. So anyway, we'll get on with this little part here where I mark this stuff. And it's a beautiful day in Texas, and it's still not, you know, not wintertime cold. It's just around 70 or a little under. And some days it's a little above. And so while things are really great, let's go ahead and finish up marking this thing. Alright, so we're going to lay this out. I've got the others marked, and this should be about the last one. They're reasonably uniform in where they're at, and I'm reasonably close to the lines I've drawn there, except maybe for that one. Okay, so we'll have to drill these holes and tap them, and then we'll be done. Now, I drill these 6 holes. I can set the data point function and record each place, and then go around and center drill it, then come back and tap drill it, then come back and tap it, and everything would be lovely. But I haven't used the set data point function in an actual job, so I'm not going to use it now. I'm just going to do one hole at a time, and then we'll come back and take care of that other stuff. You know, I'm going to drill it with the center drill, and then I'm going to drill it with the tap drill, and then I'm going to tap it, and then I'll move on. That's alright, so it's finished, I guess. Basically, I've got the only thing I have to do is get a couple of locating pins to go in between these two. The holes are threaded with the bolts that are going to be used to push the two apart, and they'll fit together like this. Here's the hole to pour in the aluminum, and then of course After it cools, I'll use these bolts to push it apart. And my only fear as to whether these little cross pieces here actually line up or not. I guess I could run a test with lead. You know, I can melt that real quick and easy. I may run a test with lead to see how it comes out before I ever fire up the furnace. But now that I've got this, the next thing I want to do, other than maybe double checking the deburring, is to make the equivalent form in wood so that I can put it into a sand mold, and I'll compare what I get from the two, or at least that's my plan. Of course, you know how plans are, they change from time to time, but right off that's what I'm planning on doing. So I guess at this point that's the end of this, and I can say thanks for watching, and please subscribe and leave a comment. I like comments. See you guys later.